Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Bhalabha Giribharadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Bhalabha Giribharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantarashimam Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shishiguru and Shigoranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonum, Chapter 20, the rainy season and the autumn season in Vrindavan, text number 41. Sorry? 49? Oh no. Why did I think 41? Well, too bad. I was preparing for 41. Nice verse. Okay. Text 49 then. Krishna Archana? 49. Sorry. Text 49. Chapter 20. Vanin muni niprasnata nirgamyartham prapedire Varsaruddha yata shitha swapindan kala agate vanimuna nipasnata nirgamyarthan prapedire Varsaruddha yata shidha swapindam kala agate vanin muni nripasnata nirgamyarthan prapedire Varsaruddha yata shidha swapindam kala agate. Christian. Vanimuni nipasnata nirgamyartam prapedire Varsaruddha yata shidha swapindam kala agate Vanik, the merchants, Muni, renunciant sages, Nripa, kings, Snataha, and brahmachari students, Nirgamya, going out, Arthan, their desired objects, Prapedire, obtain, Varsha, by the rain, Ruddaha, checked, Jatha, as, Siddha, perfected persons, Swapindam, the forms they aspire for, Kale, when the time, Agate, has come. Translation and purport, in this case, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I think many of the translation of this chapter and the purpose are from Prabhupada's own translation that he did in the book The Light of Bhagavatam. So anyway, translation: the merchants, sages, kings, and brahmachari students, kept in by the rain, were at least free to go out and obtain the desired objects, just as those who achieve perfection in this life can, when the proper time comes, leave the material body and obtain the respective forms. Purport. Srila Prabhupada comments, quote, in Vrindavan, the autumn season was very beautiful. Then, because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Balaram, the mercantile community, the royal order, and the great sages were free to move and achieve their desired benedictions. Similarly, the transcendentalists were free from the engagement of the material body. Sorry, I'll read it again. Similarly, the transcendentalists, when free from the engagement of the material body, also achieved the desired goal. During the rainy season, the mercantile community cannot move from one place to another, and so do not get their desired profit, nor can the royal order go from one place to another to collect taxes from the people. As for saintly persons who must travel to preach transcendental knowledge, they also restrained by the rainy season. But within the atom, all of them leave their confines. In the case of the transcendentalist, be he a jnani, a yogi, or a devotee, because of the material body, he cannot actually enjoy a spiritual achievement. But as soon as he gives up the body or after death, the jnani merges into the spiritual effulgence of the Supreme Lord. The yogi transfers himself to the various higher planets, and the devotee goes to the planet of the Supreme Lord, Goloka Vrindavan, or the Vaikunthas, and thus enjoy his eternal spiritual life. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapaswami. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Satarine. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo. So I was very excited by what I understood was today's verse because I was preparing for verse 41, which was about the means that the yogis have for managing and controlling the energy of life, the energy. And because I've been doing a little study on yoga, all the things was being putting together, that the whole process of yoga is basically to manage, to learn how to manage this energy, to balance it in order to being able to elevate one's consciousness. So it's a whole mechanical process of managing the energy. So I was preparing for that. I was ready to go for it. But I made a mistake, and today's verse is so we're going to try to go through. The what? Yes, just we can take it from that perspective. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to read our acharyas. So we hear from Srila Prabhupada, and then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this verse. The merchant sages, kings, and students who were confined to their rooms by the rain went out of their rooms when the rain stopped, Varsha Ruta, and obtained respectively their goals, arthan, money, independence, power, and knowledge. Just as the perfect beings, when the lifespan is finished at the time of death, Kale, obtain the body of an associate, Pindam, of the Lord, Swapindam. Srila Jiva Goswami comments, the word Varsha also means time of lifespan. The perfected beings, checked by limited years to live, achieve their goals. The householder become free to go on pilgrimage. The devotees, Siddha, obtain their bodies as an associate of the Lord. And finally, Srila Sanatana Goswami, the Jivan Muktas, Siddhas, obstructed by Advaita Gyan, which is like rain covering the sun of Bhakti, Varsha Ruda, achieve their spiritual bodies. Or controlled by the bliss of continuous devotee association, which is like a shower of rain, the devotee obtains spiritual bodies of eternity, knowledge, and bliss at the appropriate time by the Lord's mercy or on attaining Vaikuntha. Srila Jiva Goswami takes this amazing approach to this verse. But one thing, I read the verse again and then we discuss. The merchants, sages, kings, and brahmachari students kept in by the rain were at last free to go and obtain their desired objects, just as those who achieve perfection in this life can, when the proper time comes, leave the material body and obtain their respective forms. Today, snowing here, so it's not like the rainy season in Vrindavan that everything stops because of the torrents of rain. In Chicago, it's the winter season that usually, makes everything comes to halt. So it's very difficult to achieve one's purposes. It's these huge obstacles. And so today we had, trying to come on time, and then, you have to go to the obstacles of unearthing your card and the whole thing and the freeze in the windows and the things, everything becomes difficult soon. Jai Baladev had to walk from his home through the winter, right? The whole snow. Takes longer. So the whole idea of this glorifying this period or the fall season in Vrindavan, which basically is during this time and falls into this holiest of month, the month of Kartik in Vrindavan, in which not only everything is the regular obstacles that are there in material life to obtain or to advance in your particular goals, like this particular month is just a perfect month. That everything is lush, flourish, abundant, and the obstacles are much lesser. In previous seasons, summer is very hot. Spring is very beautiful, but spring things are not fully flourished. They just start to come out, like that. But it's sort of liberating too after the winter. But fall in Vrindavan, falling here in the West is not so great. Well, it's nice, but things start to dwindle. Springs is more like the big thing. But in Vrindavan, this fall season is very amazing. It's lush. It's perfect. The weather is perfect. It's not so hot. It's not so cold. And in a situation like that, you can much more freely achieve your purposes. So right here is explained that not only for the transcendentalists, but also for merchants, for sage, for all the varnas, they have different purposes. The merchants, the purpose is trade, to make money. So during the fall season, like we see in Vrindavan, Kartik is a prime time for the business. you see that all the merchants, all the businesses in Vrindavan, they just, they're flourishing because of the amount of devotees that are going to Vrindavan in Kartik to achieve their purposes. And the purpose is to elevate themselves, to soak and to take all the spiritual benedictions that are, delivered or achievable during this period of time in the Holy Dham. So you can see that during this period of time, all these different classes of people are very much flourishing in achieving their purposes. So all the business in Loi Bazaar, are booming, and you have the rickshaws are very happy. Everybody, the fruit vendors are very happy. Everybody is happy, achieving their purposes. The government have much more to tax and get their the profits from the public. And saintly persons, those who are devotees, the sages, they have the opportunity to enliven people. During this period of time, many of the advanced personalities, they take advantage to reach to those, who are searching to give transcendental knowledge. So we have many advanced devotees that take devotees in yatras. So, and, to encourage and to lead people in this process of hearing and chanting. And for those who are searching for knowledge, then also going, to be able to the devotees, to us, when we go into these places, we can, we take so much, you recharge yourself basically for the rest of the year. So, but that's why it's recommended for us to go into these yatras, this pilgrimage. And Srila Jiva Goswami mentioned it. In this case, a householder becomes free to go on pilgrimage. So all this is facilitated in this period of time, the fall period. The idea to attain one's proper goals. Now, Srila Sanatana Goswami analyzed this verse from the perspective of he makes the analogy that just as the rainy season becomes such an obstacle that it constrains you. So, and when the rainy season is finished, then you have now the possibility, you're free to advance your purposes. So, the Srila Sanatana Goswami compares this Advaita Gyan, which is this impersonalism, as the rainy season that constricts or covers or doesn't allow those who are actually looking for perfection. In this case, it refers to the Jivan Muktas. Jiva Muktas means the conditioned souls. And so a conditioned soul obstructed by this Advaita Gyan, these impersonalisms, basically that check the ultimate goal of life, which is bhakti. The same idea that is conveyed by Prahlad Maharaj when he says that by this ignorance of one's own benefit of artha, but how's it go, the verse? That one's artha or valuable thing is actually to understand our connection with Lord Vishnu. So, what is it? Now I got a blank in my head. Famous verse in the Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj, Swartan. Natehi Vishnu. What is it? Natevi du Swarta. Swata. What is it? Nat Katam hi Vishnu. So that conditioned souls, this Jiva Mukta, they don't know what is the real value of life. That the real value of life is devotion to Lord Krishna, to Lord Vishnu. So, basically it's caused by this impersonalism. It's all pervading. It's all pervading in actually in all different levels of consciousness. Going from gross to subtle, this impersonalism is very much there. And this impersonalism seeps through even when we come to devotional service. And basically this impersonalism is one of the main blocks that ones have to purify or eliminate. It's constricted. From the gross level, we see how impersonal things are, because impersonal in the sense that in a very gross level, people are very, very absorbed in the self. It's a very self-centered condition when one is very engrossed in the material consciousness. It's completely self-centered. And because it's self-centered, then the tendency is to see things as objects. So people, relationships, thing becomes an object of something that is directed at me. It's for me. So that is a manifestation of this impersonal conception of substance like that. And as it goes, from more gross levels to less, more subtle levels, then we see how we tend to dehumanize or depersonalize or everything. And when people start for persons that are more thoughtful and then trying to look for an alternative to this gross material sort of existence, then there's this whole Advaita Vad, or this Advaita Gyan, this impersonalism, that if you start to mix and hear in these yoga societies, it's like completely all pervading this impersonal concept. And it's so crazily convoluted, the whole thing. It's amazing how your head doesn't explode by all these big concepts And when you try to, put it into something that is tangible and you can use, it's impossible. It's very convoluted. It's very conflicted. Like I was in a discussion in a class, a group of people, and they were discussing about um, this idea of how when you come to the end of everything, you understand that there's nothing. That that everything you do, all your endeavors, at the end, amass to nothing. It has no value. So your existence is basically of no value, because at the end you have to leave all this stuff behind. So everything that we do in this world, and means everything, at the end you have to leave behind. So there's no value for the thing. So then, and that's supposed to be the the samadhi, or the highest position of perfection, that you come to realize that you're zero, like that. And then, when in the discussion, people that I mentioned, then they start to realize that's very depressing. That is, like what is the purpose of anything? So how do you put these things together from also the things that we hear that actually is supposed to be a position of ananda, of bliss. What is, if there's nothing where you can experience bliss of things at the end, all this. So what is this? What is this position of being liberated when it all becomes nothing? So we're very confused. So so I explained that when we hear these things that are narrated in the Vedas, they're referring to our material life. But then when you come to the position of being free from that, then there's a positive aspect. So so actually is we have an eternal spiritual body. And when we come to that position, that is actual existence. So that's how is the knowledge that is received from the Bhagavatam mark is all compound. How do you say? Is perfect. It covers everything and puts everything together, and can be understood in a very simple way. There's not much convolution to it. It's very direct. So one of the persons who were there was very relieved. She was saying, "Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense because this whole impersonal, trying to understand the process of yoga from this cloud of impersonalism is impossible. It's impossible. They come basically, they just cannot get into. It's all is like adding all this clutter, that covers your vision. It's like, trying to um, go into the garage of Jitendra. Our friend Jitendra is not here, but it's not good to make fun to his traumatic experience. Uh, so, so then the son of Bhakti, Srila Sanatana Goswami, he says that the son of Bhakti becomes open by, yes, and dissipate this cloud of impersonalism. Srila Sanatana Goswami says, controlled by the bliss of continuous devotee association, which is like a shower of rain, the devotees obtain the spiritual bodies of eternity, knowledge, and bliss at the appropriate time. So the association is like the autumn rain. We heard the other day, I quoted this verse from Parikshit Maharaj, also referring to that the autumn rain is different than the rainy season rain. The rainy season rain is this, torrents of rain that basically you cannot do anything. You have to stay in your place. But the autumn rain is this very pleasant sprinkle that what it does, it not only cleanses things. The comparison that Parikshit Maharaj says is that during the rainy season, the bodies of water becomes very muddy because it's such a strength that happens that it mixes everything and distorts everything. So the mud, comes, the earth and the water, create this muddy type of water. During the fall, when the rain fall, the rain of the fall comes, then it allows the sediments to settle. And then the bodies of water becomes very, very perfectly crystal clean. So he compares that this to the association of devotees. The association of devotees will allow us to basically become purified and at the proper time being ready to obtain, our blissful spiritual bodies. By the Lord's mercy, to obtain the mercy of Krishna. So, Guru Krishna Prasada Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. By the devotees, we receive this. By the devotees that are like a shower of rain of mercy, then one becomes fully purified. So, it's such a beautiful, appreciating the other, you're just reading this chapter, all this series of analogies that are reinforcing that glorifying this season in Vrindavan, but also strengthening our understanding of this that this special path, the path of bhakti. How is the supreme or the highest path of perfection. So one can appreciate that very much. I'm going to stop here and ask for your help. Sorry, I just have to wins this one. I was not prepared, so. And if you have any comments or thoughts to add to that.
I was appreciating your your comment on the impersonalist path and how their idea of bliss is so vague and ambiguous. And I thought about it for the first time, even though I knew this point. And it's true, like something has to cause the happiness, right? Like their idea is that the absence of suffering will cause happiness. But since when did the absence of something cause something else? Right? So it's like the idea of the ultimate liberation being like a nothingness, and then somehow I'll feel happy. But what is there to feel happy about? At least we can very concretely say there's the land of Vrindavan and Krishna's flute and the trees and the love of Mother Yashoda, the relationships, the services, the jokes. You know, they're joking in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
All of that is causing so much happiness because that then we can say, oh, I see what causes the happiness. The closeness to Krishna, seeing Krishna's beauty, like the Bhagavatam describes Krishna's beauty, is a cause of great happiness to the residents of Vrindavan. But for the impersonalists, yeah, what's there? It's like there's nothingness, and then I'll be happy. But what's there to be happy about? Yeah. You know.
And what to speak of this oneness thing? The oneness is how how can you be happy just yourself? It's like like the people get punished. They put it in confined, they put it, in by themselves, So they lock them by themselves and they go crazy at one point. It's the highest punishment to the people who should be punished. So you put it in jail, and then, okay, you want to really punish someone, you put it in, by themselves in a cage. So that's supposed to be the ultimate position that you just merge into just yourself, nothing else but yourself. So happiness is directly connected to relationships, to a relationship that we have with things, with others, with like that, and so. They have no clue, and when they come to discuss it a little deeply, they hit a wall, and then it's like, oh, that's very depressing. That was the whole thing, So, yeah, it's quite something.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your class, and that was a very nice comment by Hari Shan Prabhu. There's your analogy, kind of regarding what he said, are the Mayavadis, or the whole smorgasbord of philosophies. How can you come? They ultimately comes to zero. When you mention the word zero, it reminds me of what Prabhupada said, a very profound analogy. This is when Daksha criticized Shiva in that pastime in the fourth canto. I don't remember which purport, but Prabhupada says, all our opulences are like zero. When you write 10 zeros on a check, how much is it worth? Zero. But if you put a 1 in front of it, then it's worthwhile.
Right. That's a good one.
If it's just zeros, it's worthless. So when we put Krishna first, then all our opulences are worthwhile.
So it's just imagining, like just realizing that everything you have is zero, then, all this sort of artha, what am I doing? I'm working and doing all this stuff, and everything is zero. It's like, I'm very depressed.
Yeah.
So we don't understand that, actually you have to add Krishna, which will add the value. Yeah, good one.
However, we see from so many pastimes in the Bhagavatam, so many scriptural references, we may put our Krishna in our life, But we see on a check, depending on where you put the one, it's either worthless or worthwhile. If you put the one last, it's practically as much as zero. If we put Krishna last and our opulence is first, Jama Aishraya Shutu Shribir Edamana Madhupraman. Queen Kunti says if we put our opulences first and Krishna last, then what'll happen? We're just as spiritually poor. And so we see materialists, they become very happy when they're honored and unhappy when somebody else is honored. But if a spiritualist becomes happy when they're honored, like Indra, and unhappy when somebody else is honored, then when people look at these relationships, they're like, oh, you're saying happiness comes from relationships. And we could see it's so easy to look on the internet. You really have to have good association, but it's so easy to look on the internet and see so much past stuff. And it's common, but in any religion, and when we see those relationships, we're like, I'm good. Then therefore people go after nothing. And so there's much more to be said, but one last point I wanted to share, my main point, that was just one, maybe you could comment on that, but my main point is regarding this verse, to stick to this verse. Basically it says that they were restrained inside the confines of the house when the rainy season was going on. But we see that devotees, they're really not really concerned on, perfect circumstances. Because we see so many pastimes. Haridas Thakur, he was beaten in 22 marketplaces. He was surrounded by a storm on the outside, but he was surrounded by the sunshine of forgiveness on the inside. Look at Ramachandra Puri. He criticized his guru. It's a long story, but you know the story. He was surrounded by a sunshine of love and devotees on the outside. But why was he miserable? He was surrounded by the storm of fault-finding and criticism on the inside. So there's a nice quote. It says, wherever you go, no matter what the weather, always bring your own sunshine. Narayana Padasarvina Kutashina Bibiti Swarga Pravargana Dekeshu Apitulita Darshinaha. Devotees don't care for heavenly or hellish conditions. There's a quote that says, the mind can turn heaven into hell and heaven into hell. So my question is regarding what you were mentioning about Jitendra Prabhu. We see that Jitendra has so much clutter on the outside, but how is it possible that he stays in Krishna consciousness for so long? He must not have some clutter on the inside. We see that devotees, we can see in the scriptures so much, pristine conditions, but why are you leaving Krishna consciousness? So my question is how can we get rid of the internal clutter? Which is why, and look at Jitendra, he's a Prabhupada disciple. And how is it possible that he's maintained? So I'll speak for myself. At first when I was associated with him, he had a room where he had tons of newspaper everywhere. And he told me, I'm gonna read all this. I'm like, you serious? So I was thinking about after the years seeing him so much, how much he gives prasad. He literally goes to different homes and people, gives prasadam. The people that all their family abandoned him, he gives them prasadam. He shows them so much love. And most people don't see this. All they see is the clutter. So my question is that he's definitely had a profound effect on my life. So what are some steps we could do it's easy to get rid of external clutter, but I think you need the mercy of Krishna. Maybe you could expand on how can we get rid of the internal clutter, where we either miserable in Krishna consciousness or we leave Krishna consciousness. So maybe that's my question.
Well, I keep it short. One thing is that things that are when we devotees would hit that we're caught into that sort of judgmental or being either in the receiving end of conflict or in the front end of conflict is a sign of this cloud of anarthas that we have to simply eliminate. The process of eliminating this is a process of sadhana bhakti. So we are in the process of that. So it naturally happens. You mentioned it, that moving from 0, 0, 0, 0, then we start to put Krishna, gradually bring Krishna to the top. Like that. So we start with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, or 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, and then 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and then 1, 1, 0, 0, like that, Krishna start to come up as we start to purify, elevate ourselves. So then the symptom of this cloud that we have as mixed devotees, as neophyte devotees, is conflicts, or criticism, or etc. etc. They manifest in different ways. And we naturally, if we are progressive, if we are doing this, the process of purification, we become purified. So it's expected to happen, the purification. The position of, appreciating these devotees, an example, a dear friend, is with no doubt, there's certain devotees that regardless, they go, you can see that they spend their life serving Krishna to the best of their abilities. And then we see over and over examples in our movement of such devotees. And at the end of their life, they obtain perfection. And there is no doubt, there's a whole celebration. The life is a celebration. The life is completely full of value. And their association is always, very uplifting and get so much happiness. And even, these, so-called external manifestations of something that the devotee may have is also very endearing. And, even those things are like, devotees just talk in a loving way. Oh, such and such Prabhu, it's like, I have this situation, but you understand this is a very special, elevated personality. And there is no doubt about it on our Jitendra Prabhu. He's, if you think of this building, Krishna's temple, the first person that comes forward as, like well, the first person is Kishore Kishori and Gaurnitai, Lord Jagannath, Srila Prabhupada, and then it comes this, Jitendra is up there among, in the 10 foremost, personalities. So that's his point. And if we have this sort of tendency to get caught in the conflicting things, that's just a symptom of that there's a cloud that is covering something that we have to eliminate. So devotees should be one of the when I was preparing the class, I was gonna mention, this Astanga Yoga, breakdown. There's the yamas and the niyamas. So the yamas and niyamas are the do's and the don'ts. The yamas are the don'ts, and the niyamas are the do's. And among the niyamas, one is sobastikam, that one have to focus internally. So an answer for things is that you focus internally, you go to yourself. You find some conflict, or you're you're experiencing either as a third person or as a first person. You're experiencing a conflict. Then you go internally and you start to analyze, okay, what's happening here? What's happening to me? And that's the directive that is there for advancing. Okay? Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.